Hey folks, yesterday I did a video where I spoke about how some churches, some congregations are having negative interactions with their communities, with their neighborhoods, how people living around them are actually scared by them. They're afraid because of the things that they say, because of the things that they do. And I talked about how that's impacting the church as a whole. Today I read an article where an office within the White House of President Joe Biden, the Biden administration, met with a group of secularists, a group of atheists representing a much larger group of secularists and atheists. Now, some denominations have spoken out against this. They've denounced it. A group inside the Roman Catholic Church has denounced it. A couple of people within the Southern Baptist Convention have spoken out against it. They're against this kind of thing because they don't want to be told how their organizations should run. And their fear is that a secularist group will undermine their ability to be self-determining. Now, the reason I'm bothered by this meeting really has nothing to do with the meeting itself. It has nothing to do with the fact that the White House has met with atheists. The reason I'm bothered by it is the reason why those atheist organizations felt the need to meet with the White House. It had nothing to do with trying to destroy the church. It had nothing to do with trying to destroy the legitimacy or the credibility of the Bible. It had nothing to do with destroying the reputation or the ministry of Jesus Christ or his disciples. Nothing to do with really undermining the church at all. It had nothing to do with trying to undermine faith at all. The key principle, the key reason they wanted this meeting with this particular office within the White House was because they want protection. They want protection for everybody in the country, that if anybody goes to, for example, a Christian organization that provides a service in that community, they want to make sure that everybody in that community has an opportunity to take advantage of that organization, has an opportunity to use the services of that organization, that nobody is discriminated against for any reason by that organization. One of the examples they offered was an adoption agency, a Christian adoption agency. They want to make sure that anybody can go to a Christian adoption agency and apply, that everybody would be treated through the application process, through the selection process, that everybody would be treated the same, regardless of what they look like, regardless of where they come from, regardless of who they love. That everybody would be treated the same, even if their household doesn't necessarily look like the Christian ideal household. What bothers me by all this is that they have to ask. That truly troubles me. That a group of people in the United States, I want to say it's somewhere around, was it about 25% in the United States claims to have no faith at all. In Canada, I believe that number's higher, closer to 50%. And we see the same thing here. It bothers me that people are afraid because of the experiences that they've had, because of the experiences of others, that they're afraid that a Christian organization will somehow discriminate against them. Now, this fear isn't an irrational fear, as I mentioned. It comes from experience. It comes from the stories of their brothers and sisters who have had negative experiences. Jesus didn't just call people who believed in him. Jesus didn't just work with people who believed in him. Jesus didn't just work with people who came from where he came from. He didn't just work with people who believed what he believed. There were many people that Jesus worked with, that Jesus performed miracles for, that Jesus called, that Jesus spoke with, that were not Jewish, that held different beliefs, that had varying backgrounds. The example that comes to mind is Saul. Jesus approaches Saul on the path to Damascus, on the road to Damascus, and starts talking to him. Starts having the conversation with him. Saul is converted. He becomes Paul, the most prolific writer of the New Testament. But Saul was not a believer in Jesus Christ. As a matter of fact, he was a persecutor of those who believed in Jesus Christ. He attacked those who believed in Jesus Christ. He wanted to destroy the way of Jesus Christ. And yet Jesus entered into his life. You see, these Christian organizations that we set up, they shouldn't be about trying to keep people in line or trying to make sure that everybody fits a particular ideal. They're our way of introducing ourselves to the world. As Jesus introduced himself to Paul, a non-believer in the way, on the road to Damascus, these organizations, whether it's an adoption agency, a bakery, a pet rescue, a school, whatever organization you can attach Christian to, those are our ways of introducing ourselves to the world, of introducing the love that Jesus shares with us to the world, a way ultimately of introducing Jesus to the world. These organizations have no business putting up barriers. They have no business saying things like, if you're like us, then we will work with you. Who cares if people are like us? Does Jesus? The examples in the Gospels that I've read, he does not care. What he cares about is building a relationship. And if the work we're doing in our community leads to hampering those relationships instead of creating them, fortifying them, feeding them, I would say we need to take a really, really good look at the purpose of those organizations again and adjust. Our call in this world is to offer the love that Jesus offered to us with everyone we encounter, without exception. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that you and I, as we go into the world with our faith, it is never used to limit the faith of others. It is never used to diminish the faith of others. It is never used to be a barrier for others. As we go into the world, I pray that our hands are always used to raise others up, to provide for others, to encourage, empower, and strengthen others. Amen.